Hey, how's it going? So in my last video, I got this request right here. Now, I don't always go out my way to make a deck profile just because it's requested. Luckily, the stars align, and this is one of the leaders I wanted to deal with. So let's look at what are the things that you have to think about when you're looking at a leader such as Yellow Broly BR. One thing, the deck has 0 archetype to it, right? So you have to make one into it. One of the most versatile leaders that we have in the game. The other thing that comes up is that you can make it monocolor, multicolor, whichever way you want to do it. And that decision tree leads to a lot of interesting choices. So here we go. We're going to just look at what it is that I came up with. So here we are with the Broly BR deck, and as you can see, I went with a multicolor route, and I'll explain why as we go across this deck profile. So first we're going to talk about the leader. It says, when this card attacks, you may choose one card from your life, add it to your hand, and if you do, draw a card. This is different than the way they do it now, where you could swing and draw the card either way, and then you could choose, to add a life. You have to add a life in order to draw the card. Back in this time, this was an amazing ability because we didn't have any other point of reference, and the ability to self-awaken was king. But now, it's kind of frowned upon to have to be mandatorily taking life in order to get there. But I'm not too mad at it, because still, the card advantage you get from doing that, the speed at which you get to this backside, which is powerful. Then Awaken is when you have 4 less life, you may choose up to 2 of your energy and switch into active mode and flip this card over. This is still the most powerful kind of awakening in the game generically. I know there's like cards that like untap 2, draw 3 or some wild stuff like that. But otherwise, generically awakening untap 2 is probably the best one tempo wise. On the backside, you have when this card attacks, draw a card. This is not an auto once per turn, as you can see. Then we have 2 activate mains, both of which are amazing. For the first one is, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. There's no cost or requirement for it. You just go, hey, is that your battle card? Tap it. Then we have activate main once per turn. Choose one card from your life, add it to your hand. Then choose this card or up to one of your Broly BR cards in your battle area and switch it to active mode. As you can see, the text is in yellow or highlighted. That's because it's errata. This card used to be absolutely bonkers and could untap anything. So a lot of times people were using it to either untap ultimates or untap an energy or something of that nature. But this right here still is very powerful. Untapping your leader and untapping another card that you see up here on the list will allow you to get tons of value. And granted, you are killing yourself, but now we don't have to worry about that too much. That's because we got this new card, Paragus Seething for Revenge. This card is really, really strong. So one, it has this auto limit 1, which says when your Yellow Broly BR is switched to active mode by your leader skill, switch this card to active mode. Then add the top card of your deck to your life. There is actually a deck I wanted to play this one with, because it doesn't say your leader has to be Broly BR in order for this skill to trigger. So there's a build of Galactic Frieza where I was going to get myself down to 4 and start untapping Broly BRs and gaining life. It was going to be crazy. But that's for another time. That's for another time. You want to see that deck? Just holler at your boy. I will put that one out there for you. Anyway, this guy right here, that ability negates the life loss of your leader skill. It doesn't negate, I believe, the last life being taken, because I think the game sees that happens before this auto will kick in and save your life. So anything but the last life you will be able to use with the leader skill and trigger this guy's skills. The other thing this card does is help you to awaken on time. And what I mean by on time is that your awakening should be happening around turn 2, turn 3 the absolute latest. So if your opponent at least hits you once, you're fine, because then you get to play this card for 2 yellow, assuming your opponent has 2 or more energy. And then you are able to untap 2 when you awaken, so he's virtually free to play this card. And then it has this really cool activate main limit 1 for yellow. If you have 4 more energy, choose up to one of your Yellow Broly BR leaders It gets plus 5k power into the end of your opponent's turn. That now makes it a 20k. That makes it strong for offense and defense. So you want to take advantage of this effect. The other thing that's great about this card is that it's not unique. Even though the activates and all that stuff is all limit 1, just in case it gets blocked or negated or something like that. Anyway, as we see, we went green-yellow, and the green-yellow engine is a favorite of mine because of Turles dominance at hand. But Turles was not the first card that made me fall in love with green-yellow as an arrival engine. Just as this one made it super duper cheap. It deals with tons of cards, but the original card was SS Broly All Out Assault. You had to play green-yellow to arrival this. But when it came into play, you got to choose one or two abilities. Either you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost greater than or equal to their energy and you KO it, which was stupid powerful. Or the more powerful effect was you drew a card and chose up to one of your opponent's cards and switched it to rest mode. This ability was really strong because it didn't care what you tapped. So if it was their last attack, their second to last attack for the turn, you could play this and tap the other card. Sometimes people, because they want to deal with the yellow shenanigans, will swing with a battle card first, and you could combo this into play and tap their leader and draw a card. And now they don't have a leader swing anymore, and then they lost a card for the turn. Stuff like that. But it brings out how as when this card is switched to active mode by a skill during your turn, you get these effects as well. And he is a Broly BR. So you are able to use your leader skill after you swung with this card on your turn to untap it and either pop something or draw a card and tap something. And then for the smaller stuff, you have Turles to come down to pop 4 or less and draw your card. And it's a 16k blocker, so it covers the gaps that this card does not cover. But this card covers a lot. To facilitate all that, we have our green-yellow combo stuff. So we have 2 of the Skill Seal Chill-Eye Super Combo, which is good. It's basically, it taps leaders, tap unison. Or if it's your turn, choose up to one of your opponent's skillless battle cards and KO it. That second ability is actually relevant to a certain degree in this deck. Wicked Sands. This card was almost perfect, right? You want it because it's another 10k combo for free. And you also want it because it goes into the small hand control sub theme that exists within the deck. It comes in, it rips 2 cards, 2 40k swings. Perfect. The imperfect part is that he is regular Broly and not Broly BR, so you don't get to untap him with your leader for a third 40k swing, but we're fine with that. It's all good. Then we play 8 Android free combos, and there's a reason for that. Both of these have the same ability. If your leader card is yellow or an Android, reduce the combo cost by 1. But this one has a permanent that if there are 3 or more Android cards in your drop area, negate this card energy exhaust skill in all areas. So realistically, you only really need to charge 1 green, maybe 2 throughout the course of the game. If you have these guys that you put into the drop and maybe a copy of this, then you'll be able to charge this guy without having any issue. And then that'll help you to be able to rival more Brolys and things like that. So next up we have Analyzer here, right? He's here to hedge our bets. Sometimes you need to be able to charge a green-yellow multi-turn 1 because there's just nothing else you really want to be charging. And then you have your Analyzer to be your designated energy that if you ever draw, you just charge it for the rest of the game. And now you have 2 multicolors and the ability to facilitate, again, multiple Brolys within the turn if it's ultra late game. Because this deck could play at all facets of the game. And that's what you kind of want to do. Again, most of the time, your energy is going to be wide open. There's only a few cards in this deck that you play on your turn. Those cards being Paragus, which is, again, usually free the first time around. Bergamo, which, because your leader skill, you're going to be able to play for the 2 energy on your turn if you choose to do so. Poutine, who is free. And your Overwhelm, that is, again, free. So usually you're just going to have your energy open. And that's important because we have Riposte, we have Vegito, and then we have a slew of cards that we want to interact with our opponent on their turn. So 1, we're a Cold Bloodlust leader. At least it used to be one of the best cards in the game. and was one of the driving factors to playing this leader. This leader was the only cold bloodlust leader besides Ginyu that self awakened, and then you had the busted untap 2 energy ability, and then the ability pre-errata to untap one of your energy to continue extending your plays, and that led to, and you had cold bloodlust at 4, and that led to this leader being oppressive. Now it's down to 1. It doesn't quite hit as much as it used to, but when it does hit, it's amazing. Token negates. Power to Super Saiyan. It's our third ultimate, because, you know, our first one was Wicked Saiyan, second one Cold Bloodlust, Power to Super Saiyan, third one. 3 final flashes. So this is a better choice. And what I mean by that is this. There are several cards, particularly in blue, but in other colors, that you need to be able to flash because you can't deal with them in other ways. At least not without going negative. For instance, the blue 8-drop Oob. You want to flash it. The Android 21 8-drop. You want to flash it. There's just a bunch of cards you want to flash. And then when you're going against, say, like Gohan, for instance, right? Again, your energy is going to be up. So when they go into that big turn 3 aggro play where they play the 4-drop with the barrier, that's 24, and they're trying to swing at you, and they think it's sweet out here. You flash it, which is the best case scenario for them. You just flash it, and then you get out the attack because you're going to go up to 30, and then they won't be able to tag it out into the Gohan. Worst case scenario, you flash it, and then you, on the subsequent swing, arrival of Turles and pop it, and also draw yourself a card. And now you just played for 2 energy, you dealt with their big turn 3 play, and also created a blocker for yourself. If they go into the big drop, let's say you're on your third energy, you went first, they charge their third energy, and they're like, hey, I could play the 8-drop right now. They get even more screwed because you have Flash into Broly to deal with the 8-drop. Flash is very strong. There's an argument to run it at 4, but I have not found a way to do that yet. T-Blow helps you to deal with certain floodgates. It also randomly 2-for-1s, which is also very powerful. So you could deal with things like Boo Unison for a turn. Basically have strays hit cards that your opponent wasn't expecting to get blinked that turn. And then if it's skillless, let's say they like go for a floodgate, you stop it, and then you deal with one of their cards. You get to combo this card right here, choose one of your opponent's skillless battle cards and KO it. So that's why I say it comes up. You know, T-Blow, a floodgate, blink, a boss monster, swing, combo, kill the boss monster. Let's see. We're on Cooler. 2 copies. This card fluctuates in copies for my deck, but I did decide to go with 2 on that. Only because I have the worst Cooler luck ever. That's basically what it is, right? Other people play Cooler, they play it, it blows out the game. I play Cooler, and I lose. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, I do recognize that it's a powerful card and that you kind of really want it. As we mentioned, our overall is Dark Temptation Toa. It goes with the micro, and I mean micro sub-theme of ripping some random cards out your opponent's hand. Right when they least expect it, they got a 6-7 card hand they think again is sweet. You get to rival overwhelm this, rip a card down by 1, give your leader +5. Then you're able to pump that leader +5 again with the Paragus. And then you get to swing 20, 25, untap, 20, 25. On top of that, you still had a 15k swing. Solid. And then we have Krillin to round out our super combos because we want to be able to dig when the time calls for it. Hey, future VG here. Just realized during my edit that I never talked about the Z deck. So I'm just going to go over it real quick. There's nothing too crazy going on here. A bunch of singletons. But we have Hercule. He keeps coming up, so I'm playing him. He allows you to take advantage of your leader skill, even in situations where you're not able to attack. So you could play this right here. For instance, tap this guy, and then use your leader skill to untap, that guy right there. Get a proc off of it, and do your thing. We have the Goku. The Goku is good in certain matchups, poor in others. but the matchups is good in. It's pretty amazing. So we still keep it in there. Oolong. Oolong could copy the Wicked Saiyans just as well as it could copy Piccolo Gohan, so we still play it. We got the Vegeta for the berry removal and a late game crit, if need be. And then this guy is a new addition, and I think he should be in every yellow deck. So the first auto you don't really care about. You care that as deflect, dual attack, and that if your opponent has 5 or more cards of restful when this card is played, it gains critical and barrier for the turn. Super good. Again, cheap barrier threat. Granted, it is 3 Z energy, so you got to keep that in mind as well, but usually you're only playing like 1 or 2 Z cards a game period anyway. And it says, when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, and this card gets plus 5k for the turn. So this is not a once per turn auto. So the first swing will be for 15 crit, the second swing will be for 20 crit, while also removing 2 threats off the table. So definitely you should be playing this card if you have room in your Z deck, of course. We have the Frieza because it's a 115k. And then lastly, we have Gamma 2 because, reasons. So that's it for the Z deck. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled video. So that's it for the deck profile. Again, as always, link down below so you can look at the list yourself. The list was actually also skewed towards a more budget player base because some of these yellow cards, such as the Sen Shenron, is kind of out of price range for some people. So keep that in mind as well. If you do want to put those kind of cards in there, there's definitely room where you could put those cards into the deck. I'll catch you next time, and this is VG Time, signing out.